Ladies and gentlemen, so here we are, pretending this is about where Edgar Lungu should be buried, when in reality this entire circus smells less like grief and more like panic. The Lungu family isn't just clinging to the South African soil for emotional reasons. No, they are clinging to it like a lifeboat in a sea of legal storms, corruption probes, frozen assets, and looming arrest warrants. This isn't mourning. This is maneuvering. Now, let's talk facts. Or at least the kind of facts that dance just shy of official confirmation. Rumors, swelling louder than a Lusaka taxi horn, suggest that the late Edgar Lungu had significant assets in South Africa, managed quietly by none other than his daughter and son-in-law. Properties, investments, possibly some offshore sweeteners. The kind of wealth that prefers fresh Cape Town air over Lusaka scrutiny. And if you are wondering why someone would want to keep their burial local to these assets, well, think of it like burying the GPS tracker to your get out of jail free card. But here is where the plot thickens into pure Netflix territory. Mrs. Esther Lungu is facing criminal charges in Zambia. The former First Lady is no stranger to headlines involving unexplained wealth and abuse of office. And conveniently, yes, almost too conveniently, there are whispers that she applied for asylum in South Africa. You heard that right, asylum. As if the Zambian legal system were suddenly a war zone and she a political refugee. If you want to understand the logic behind this, you need only look at the burial battle as the first phase of a broader escape plan. Because you see, if Edgar Lungu was buried in South Africa, Mrs. Lungu could argue that her life, her grief, and her emotional sanctuary are now rooted in foreign soil. A dignified excuse to never return to Zambia or to court. It's a perfect cover. I'm just a widow visiting my husband's grave, except in this case, the tombstone doubles as an alibi. And it doesn't end there. Some analysts believe this burial fight was never about legacy or tradition, but a calculated political trap set to embarrass President Hakainde Hichilema. If HH allowed the body to be buried in South Africa, it would look like weakness. A man easily manipulated by the Lungu clan. But if he stood firm, as he did, it paints him as cold and vindictive, denying a grieving widow her final wish. It's political chess, and poor Edgar is just the pawn. But here's the kicker. The appeal against the High Court ruling might not even be about winning. No, it could be about dragging out the legal process, creating public sympathy, and feeding international headlines that say Zambian government denies former First Lady dignity. All this while slowly laying the groundwork for the ECL loyalists to regroup and possibly reignite the PF political engine using sympathy, nostalgia, and national confusion. There's also the curious fact that no post-mortem report has been made and absolutely zero information has been released about the late president's assets in Zambia or abroad. Coincidence? Or the calm before a financial storm? If there are skeletons in the financial closet, South Africa might just be the safest place to keep the door locked. Let's not forget, burial locations have symbolic power. If ECL is buried in Zambia, it ties his legacy to the state. If he's buried in South Africa, it sends the message that he died in political exile, a martyr to some and an indictment on HH's government to others. The choice of soil becomes the battlefield for historical narrative. And let's be honest, no one fights this hard for burial rights unless something far more valuable is at stake. People don't go to court over where to lay a body unless they are also trying to bury evidence, memory, or accountability. The Lungu family knows that the grave is not just a resting place. It's a fortress, a legal one, a political one, and maybe even a financial one. So don't be fooled by the black clothes and solemn faces. Behind the mourning is a machine. Behind the grief is strategy, and behind the flowers, power. This may sound very cruel to a grieving family, but it is increasingly becoming more evident or appearing to be. Because this isn't about Edgar Lungu anymore. This is about what he left behind and how far some people are willing to go to keep it hidden. Ladies and gentlemen, do you believe this burial battle is about justice or strategy? Comment below justice or strategy and tell us your theory. We are reading all of them. Zambia, your story is being written in courtrooms, graveyards, and hidden bank accounts. Stay alert, stay watching, and stay subscribed because the Lungu court drama is only just beginning. If you found this eye-opening, don't forget to subscribe to Zimwaves TV and turn on the notification bell because tomorrow's headlines are already being buried today.